And in WCW, everybody was great. I never really had any issues in WCW. I got to see some comical things like Paul Orndorff beating up Vader. That was right in front of me. That was fantastic.
Yes,
I love watching that.
Let's talk about that one.
Okay. So I'm down there in center stage in Atlanta, and I'm getting some coffee. I'm the only one in the hallway, and I see Vader walking in, and I believe he just signed his big contract, and Paul Orndorff's on the other side of the hallway, and he just became an agent, and I believe he had something to do with interviews that day, and he just starts yelling at Vader about why aren't you there? Why, this, and this. And Vader just starts yelling back at him. And then they just get closer and closer. And then next thing you know, they start swinging on each other. And then Vader slips. Because Vader would kill Paul Orndorff. I mean, Paul Orndorff's small. He's a small guy. Great guy. Paul Orndorff was awesome to me. But Vader's like over 400 pounds. Paul Orndorff's just over 200. Luckily for Paul, Vader slipped. And when Vader slipped, he couldn't get back up because he's just so wobbly. He had that big center. And I've worked with Vader before, and I mean, he's a big guy, but Paul just started kicking him in the face. And I remember the only person trying to break it up was Dick Slater. Dick Slater was the only person trying to break it up. And I remember watching the whole thing going, I'm just the low man on the pole. I'm not getting involved, but I'm thought, how are some of the veterans not breaking this up? I don't know why. I mean, I have no idea. Usually back then they just let them go, I guess. Now that probably would never happen. But yeah, unfortunately, Vader got the bad part of that and got kicked in the face the whole time, So, and then I think he lost his contract right after that.
Yeah, he had a sketchy reputation with a lot of guys that I've talked to that were up against him as, we'll say, enhancement talent as well. I know you fought him in WCW. How was he with you? Was he stiff? Was he
was fine to me. He was fine to me. You know what was funny? We're in the back, and before we go out there, he's going over some spots, and he goes, I want you to throw a punch to me and hit me in the face. And I said, okay, so I don't even come close to him. And he goes, no, hit me. He goes, seriously, hit me. I hit him. His lip starts bleeding. In my mind, I'm going, I am a effing dead man. I am so dead. We went out there. We had a great match. We basically, it was a squash match because he was being pushed heavy at that time. But afterwards, what was so funny was he comes running up to me just like a little boy, and he gives me a hug. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh my God, that was great. And it just goes to show you that in this business, there was always a pattern of, if you were a heel, you were probably the nicest guy behind the scenes. And you were a face, there were some nice guys, but then there was some sketchy guys too, because, it's like you play the opposite of who you are.